A quick introduction. So my name is Madhusudan. I am the CEO at Earthmate Direct, the P2P platform. I spent 2 decades in capital markets and switched to lending about a year back, right? The first product I sold is mutual fund and a broking account, right? And in my previous role, I was MD and CEO at one of the NSDL group companies. So I have seen capital markets from a vantage point, interacted with all the fintech platforms, brokers, AMCs, and I know the kind of action that is happening. And I think the industry, especially the mutual funds industry, is today in this scale thanks to the support of all the investment advisors like you. And congratulations and thanks for all your support on that front. So I think Vishal already covered a lot of ground in terms of the fundamentals of P2P and the contours of this business, right? So what I'll do is this is a framework that is my own framework, right? It is not a borrowed framework. And this I use in my day-to-day life, whether I want to invest, whether I want to pursue a new hobby, whether I want to pursue a passion. I have a framework which I follow. And this is something which I wanted to leave with all of you. Because you are trying to sell or offer a new product. That is the reason why you are here, right? Today we are talking about alternate products. When you're trying to sell a new product, you first need to be clear in terms of what are you getting at. Similarly, your investors need to know what is the kind of product that we are talking to them on, right? Whether it is this product, mutual funds, or even if they want to pursue something on a lifestyle change, this framework would hold good, okay? Right, and I'll just start with this quote which I personally like, right? If you really need to be successful, one is you need to have a dream, but you also need to have a process, right? Without which you are just shooting in the dark and will go nowhere, right? And that's the reason, or that's the context in which I am putting this framework in front of all of you. And again, now I'll start with my next quote with a person all of us would associate with, right? And in the keen, the K is for knowledge. The keen, K-E-E-N, K is for knowledge, right? And all of us know the importance of knowledge. I'll put some examples to drive my point, right? Sir, would you be able to talk to your customer to try and sell mutual funds if they do not understand what is equity and debt? Right? It's very difficult, right? उतना तो काम उसको करना चाहिए, right? Customer should do some basic work of what is equity, what is BSE, what is NSE, what is debt, what is a bond. उसके बिना आप जाके बात करोगे, he will just look at you, stare at you, and say thank you so much. I'll come back to you after 1 week. The customer says I'll come back to you after 1 week. समझो कि कभी call नहीं करेगा आपको, correct? So it is important for all of us here, elsewhere in the fraternity, to ensure that the customers have basic knowledge of what they're trying to do. And this is not just for investments, right? I'll talk about, Kanakji, last time when we met, he said, I'm not eating after 6 o'clock. Okay, I said, sir, kya ho gaya? Right? So all of you would have heard of intermittent fasting, whatever. He would have acquired some basic knowledge before he implemented this. Otherwise, what would happen? 3 days down the line, he will say, यार बहुत headache हो रहा है, 6 बजे के बाद नहीं खा रहा हूँ इसके लिए, so I'm stopping it. But if you are prepared, that when you adopt a new food habit, the first 3 days, 7 days, 10 days are likely to be tough. You will stay with it. Without this basic knowledge, you go and do any fancy diet, or you just go to the gym and try to lift some heavy weights, you will only get injured. Same is for investments, right? Now I'll drive the next point, which is extremely crucial. The E is the expertise of the knowledge, or having an access to an expert. Again, a personal example. Like I said, I started my career selling mutual funds and broking accounts. I knew about equity, I knew about rupee cost averaging, SIP, ये बेचता था सबको, right? 2004 came, India Shining campaign. I thought BJP is going to win. And I also knew what is a call option. When do you buy a call option? When the market is likely to go up. Put option when the market is going to go down. I said, यार ये तो BJP आने वाला है. And I know equity, I know call option. I bought a call option. 1 week, the call option price was half. Okay, BJP lost, and my option price also became half. Then I used the second brilliant concept I learned, rupee cost averaging. I went and bought more call options. Knowledge does not automatically transfer to being expertise. I did not know at that time that there is a concept of decaying of premium in options. I didn't know that. If only I could have spoken to some expert trader, I would not have made this mistake. And the second point which I want to drive here, knowledge in one subject does not mean knowledge in every other subject. Right? I knew equity, I knew mutual fund, that does not make me a super options trader. Correct? So similarly, all of you probably are amazing at selling, let us say, mutual funds, insurance. So my request, talk to probably industry folks like us, if you want to really learn about alternatives. Do not attempt from an acquired knowledge of, ab to yaar, matlab, pehle to, I think you could have still spoken to 2 people. Now you can do YouTube, Google, and learn on your own. That does not mean that you are getting an access to the right knowledge. Request for your investors and also to you, get hold of a right expert, and I think the chances of you losing money is significantly lower. The third E is an effort, right? And this is a law that I love, okay? And I have put as a person, but it is not for a person, it is true for a machine, it is true for any being. Ideally, हमको, मुझे पानी लेना है, I will take from here and not there, right? Because I'm trying to minimize my effort. Same goes in every sphere of our life, right? So yahan, if you look at the example, I'll put it into a context for all of you. If one of your investor, you have recommended investing in small cap fund last year, right? आपने मुझे recommend किया, and he is my friend, and if he asks me, I'll tell, यार मेरे advisor तो मुझे small cap दे दी, आप डाल दो अभी पैसे, right? But it may not be right decision today. But I don't have the context. आपने मुझे बताया, मैंने transfer कर दिया communication, and he is going to invest in a small cap fund today and cry after 1 year, right? So now the beauty of this, in effort, people do not even speak. पहले तो बात तो करते थे लोग एक दूसरे से, अब बात भी नहीं करते. The best fund to invest, 3 sources, sir. There are only 3 sources all the DIY guys do. Money control, value research, economic times, short performance, 1 year, 1 month, 3 months, small cap दिखेगा जाके invest कर देगा. And they call it as great research, by the way, right? And after 1 year, the fund will change, they will be at 12%, 10% loss, and they don't know where to go, and they will quit investing in mutual funds for good. This has happened numerous times, right? And now the beauty of this effort, in another context, is, let us assume somebody wants to really be good at putting on muscle, right? मुझे जिम जाना है, ट्रेनर, so first is K, knowledge हासिल कर लिया, अच्छा जिम जाने से मुझे muscle, I'll put on a lot of muscle. Second E, जिम में ट्रेनर को भी रख लिया. तीसरा पॉइंट एफर्ट, मुझे ही करना है ना, उठाना तो मुझे ही है, जिम ट्रेनर को नहीं है, उठाना तो मुझे ही है. सिमिलरली आपको इन्वेस्टर्स को पैसा कमाना है, पैसा तो उसी को डालना है, राइट? नाउ दे हैव एक्सेस टू नॉलेज एंड पार्टनर्स लाइक यू. द एफर्ट they have to take. They have to discuss with you, sir, क्या चल रहा है बताओ मुझे. They have to put more money to create wealth. If they come to you and invest 10,000 rupees per month, it's not going to create wealth for them, right? They have to find the next 10,000 rupees to invest. You cannot find the 10,000 for them. That is the context of effort in whether it is investments or, let's say, lifestyle. The next, I mean, again, one more favorite quote, all of us love Warren Buffett. Right? Whether it is investments, whether it is relationships or habits, all of them take time to nurture, to fructify, right? And we have seen again, time and again, right? So thankfully, I have taken one right decision after my options trading experience. वो एक ही बार किया मैंने, बाद में नहीं किया, right? For everything else, I would recommend people to be at it till they get the expertise or till they get the ideal outcome. You want to run 21 kilometers? It will take 12 months of effort, practice, and training to be able to run. You cannot do tomorrow. If you want a double-digit returns in mutual funds, you have to stay invested for 3 to 5 years, if not more, consistently. If you want to make money out of alternate investments, you cannot take one accident and move on in life. You have to be at it and invest consistently, give time so that you understand the product and invest more, right? So this is the first framework that I wanted to drive: knowledge, experience, effort, and time, right? So with this background, I'll just skip to quickly the next part of my discussion. Very quick highlights in terms of what exactly is happening on the digital lending landscape in the country. Cool, right? Okay. So if you look at this, very interesting data. Among all the Asian countries, the highest number of fintechs are in India. Halaki value of funding in China is higher. The highest number of fintechs, 7,000 fintechs, are in India. And out of this $35 billion money that has come in, which is the most important point which I want to drive here, 40% of this funding is coming into digital lending fintechs. It is not going into wealth tech, it is not going to insurance, it is not going to anywhere else. 40% has already come into digital lending startups. And the second important factor that is going to drive, again, borrowing in future. If you look at this stat, the biggest growing population in the country is affluent and mass affluent. This is current. And look at this. Affluent is almost going to 35% in the next 3 to 4 years. And what that is also doing, so 60% of the consumption, this is the income and this is the consumption side. And if you look at this, 66% of the consumption is going to happen from the mass affluent and the affluent households of the country. And this is not happening over decades. This is happening in the next 3 to 4 years. And what does it do? If this kind of consumption is growing and if this kind of incomes are growing, what exactly does it do? So like I said, the first one is rich households are increasing. The MSMEs are growing at 11%, and they employ 120 million Indians, which is 20% of Indian workforce, by the way. 20% of Indian workforce whose earnings are going to grow by around 10 to 12% in next 3 years. And if these two are to happen, the first thing that is likely to happen is that they are going to increase their spends by 2 to 3 times in next 3 years. And this is what is going to drive the borrowing, right? Digital lending is already $270 billion, which was $9 billion a decade back. And it is going to be almost $900 billion by FY30. This is the kind of growth that is happening in the borrowing industry. And if all of us do not take an effort to at least understand and be there in some form or the other, I think we are going to miss one ride of the country. And a quick information about us and what we do. So we have, Arthmet Tech is a tech firm with our in-house NBFC, Arthmet Finance. Close to 2.5 years since inception. Already did about 2,000 crores of lending, predominantly from our own balance sheet, with about 50 borrowing partners. Most of the borrowing is sourced through the borrowing partners, with about less than 1% NPA. And we have a very stringent evaluation criteria, not just for borrowers, even for the sourcing partners through whom we acquire borrowers. And I think this is a norm for most of the P2P lending companies. I think diversification is what all of us work on, whether it is the quality of borrowers, the type of borrowers, the kind of end use case for a loan. All of us work on diverse borrower pool, and we are no different in that context. But the only one probably fine-tuning that we did in our iteration of the P2P lending, we do not lend, I just need 1 minute, sir, from all of you. We do not lend unless our own NBFC approves a loan. We do not lend, which means if you are coming as a P2P investor, you will not lend unless my NBFC approves, and they give some part of the money directly to the borrowers. We do not take money from P2P investors. And that is what we call as skin in the game. So let's assume a borrower comes and says, "Mujhe 1 lakh chahiye." First step, my NBFC has to approve. They will fund some part of that loan to the borrower, and the remaining loan will be funded by P2P investors. And of course, some of the plans are since we have just started, we kept it slightly simpler. 10, 11, 12, 13, easy to remember. Liquid plan 10%, take out anytime. 1, 2, 3 year, 11, 12, 13%. So these are our simple products. And yeah, thank you so much for giving me the time. All the best.
Thank you so much. May I request Rajesh J. Mehta to give a small comment. Mr. Madhusudan. Still, Mr. Madhusudan is there around, so please do interact.